Hello, welcome back to my car cave. Today we have the 2023 Red Bull RB19. This is the all-conquering race car that Max Verstappen took to his third world title and the second constructors title for Red Bull. This is a mini champs release. Looks like it's a limited edition to 240 pieces for the Australian GP. They're pretty much making almost every race win for him, whether it's for regular release or for the Max Verstappen shop. This comes with this Max Verstappen logo and number one with the Red Bull on it. Minichamps kind of gone away from their standard black with the checkerboard to these kind of team livered boxes even on their regular releases. So it's kind of nice, different than before. But this is a typical window box release. It's not a special edition like some of my other ones. Let's go ahead and take it out of the box and take a closer look. Okay, now we got it out of the box. Let's talk a little bit about the race history here. Again, this is the 2023 RB19. This is the most winningest car in F1 history. I think it won 19 out of 22, 21 out of 22 races for Red Bull, and then 19 out of 22 races for Max Verstappen. So both records in terms of percentage victories for the season. Red Bull eclipsing McLaren's 1998 efforts, and Max Verstappen, I'm not sure who he eclipsed, but probably Michael Schumacher, um, or even probably Lewis Hamilton for winningest driver percentage. This car, like I said, it was all conquering, and just like in 1988, the only real loss it suffered was against a Ferrari at the Singapore Grand Prix, and that was to Carlos Sainz. As a car, this this design dominated everywhere but Singapore. It was a real anomaly. It was kind of strange. Everybody saw it coming. Don't know that anybody could explain why it happened, but it did. It was obviously very frustrating for Max, not used to being in that position the last few seasons, and certainly not going to have that issue again here in 2024. So that said, this is again the winningest car in F1 history, and for a season, this is the winningest driver in F1 history. So a pretty remarkable car. It's an evolution of the 2022 design, and interestingly, for 2024, they kind of went away with this from this design and kind of merged it with what Mercedes had been doing. And it's been as successful. So a historic car nonetheless. It's a World Championship car, so it'll be great in the World Championship collection. A little bit frustrating. It's another Red Bull or another Mercedes, that kind of stuff. But that's F1 these days, and so I can't. That's a me problem for sure. But anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the quality of this model. Okay, so this is a Minichamps 118 scale. Again, this is die cast, so nice and heavy. Not as heavy, doesn't feel as last year's model, but yeah, there's some significant weight to this, particularly compared to the resin ones we deal with. Again, this is kind of typical Minichamps quality. This is everything we come to expect from Minichamps. I'll talk about some of the usual stuff like we always do. And I'll try to point out some issues I have with this one in particular. I fanboy on Minichamps all the time, but this season for the 2023 cars, for some reason, I think Spark might actually have the better examples. I don't have enough of each to know. I'll have two Red Bulls in my collection, one for the World Championship section and one for the Red Bull area of the display. So I hope to pick up a Spark version later. Not sure which one I will pick up. I'm not crazy about the Vegas or maybe the US livery. So I might just try to find one with Max's Championship blue helmet. So later season one, which might have some different aero designs as incorporated as well as they change the car over the season. So, anyways, let's kind of talk. Typical, like I said, it is diecast, so we do get functioning wheel spin here in the front and in the back. It's a little stiff, but it does. They do roll. You don't get the left right. That they've just kind of stopped doing that for the F1 cars, unfortunately. Um, the rest of it, execution, the diecast looks really nice. The panel gaps are pretty good, with the exception of right here. It's probably a little more obvious on this side. Um, you just see kind of a gap right here, and you can see the yellow through it when you look sideways. So I don't, that could have been better executed. This is being super nitpicky, but I just wanted to point that out. But the rest of the gaps look pretty good. The paint color from this is probably a plastic part here to the die cast metal looks the same. Sometimes you get variations there. Um, talking about things they do well, things they don't do well. Again, this is a plastic exhaust tip. Spark uses that resin. You can see the black in there where it kind of caps out. Again, Spark uses a resin, or sorry, a photo etch piece here, which is really nice. I wish, at a minimum, I wish this was like had some discoloration to it. They've done that in previous models. This is just purely chrome. And they don't ever really look like that even at the start of the race. Never mind all the heat transfer that happens later. So they could have improved that. That would have been nicer. Um, New for this season, as we've talked about, for the 2023 models, they did adjust the rear wings to have a gap here, which is, I think they should have been doing all along, but that's a nice upgrade. Still the same issue in the front wings. They, don't have the gap there like Spark does, and that just seems to be something they're going to stick with, and they've kind of done predominantly throughout the history of Minichamps. Like few seasons they've made gaps there, but that's just not what they do. So gotten used to it, got over it. I still buy the models. Um, then here, like I'd like them to get a slit here. I mean, in this little wheel shroud here, it would be nice for them to put a slit in there. It would be more realistic. At a minimum, make a gap in the decal so it looks like it's cut, as we all know it is. That'd be something that would be a little better if they could do that. But that's really it. I mean, I think everything else they've done pretty well. They do have the rear lights on here done better than previously. Um, I think in the 2022s they just didn't have them, or they were on the side of the car. You got the tail light here. That looks good. You got this little slit in the air release area for the rear cowling. This car looks a lot like the end of the 2022 season with this kind of, I call it the tabletop. Other people, the rounded ones are more referred to as like cannons on the Mercedes and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a lot flatter. This area is smaller. This cowling is a lot narrower than last year's model. So it's interesting to see the difference between the previous years. This side pod super flat. It's kind of they must have reached the edge of the box design element box, and so they just made it flat right there. Um, but I mean, these cars look different a bit from side to side, from year to year. Again, this is an early season, so I'd expect a later season one to look to evolve as well. What Mini Champs really does well, obviously, they do their wheels. Again, I really like the yellow or the white on the tires. I think it looks good against the car. I have one of each from last season. I hope that if I pick up another one, I would get the white version. I do not like the red, as I've stated many times. Um, so I think again, Mini Champs does a great job here. The overall fit and finish is nice, and then again, my favorites, the carbon fiber decals. I think Mini Champs does a great job. It is, it's a dull color, a matte finish, which I think is probably more appropriate than the glossy that you sometimes see because these cars are race cars. That's not what they're not show cars. And I do appreciate that. Here, if I can pick it up, let me take a photo of it. There's different striations. This is kind of a diagonal striation here, and then a straight striation here. That's true to the way the car looks. It is super hard to see without a magnifying glass, to be honest. I appreciate the effort, but it is definitely they could, I don't know, they could do something to make it this transition between straight and diagonal a little more revealing to the eye On the side here, this is a matte black. I suspect that would be raw carbon fiber. I can't find a photo to verify either way. They do nice carbon fiber here as well as here. Something they do really nice here is there's a difference between the carbon fiber here and here. I'll try to take a photo so you can see it. This is kind of a striated variation, and this kind of that checkerboard. And when you search online, that's pretty darn accurate. Same here, you get the striation carbon fiber. For the floorboard, however, you get this imprinted carbon fiber texture. So when you scratch on it, you can hear it. It's done better than, say, Barago or Norev or some of the other ones, Solido, who make less, more economical models. So they do a pretty good job here. It gives kind of a glossy sheen to it. I'd rather have a decal, but they probably save that for the BBR version of this car. And then on the side here, you get this matte black. This is the era where we started reducing the amount of paint on the car to save weight. This, I found one photo, I think, that looks like this would be kind of that pressed carbon fiber. There's no striation or pattern to it. It's just kind of that raw carbon fiber. I'd prefer that. I don't know how they'd make a decal out of that. And maybe that's the problem. So they just kind of stick with a matte black to it. And then, sorry, I bumped the camera there. You also get a carbon fiber uh, stripe here. The accuracy of that is not great in terms of the way it appears on the wing. It's a little bit different on the edges and that kind of stuff, but it's a nice job. And then it rolls down here. However, disappointingly, this is just plastic black inside. This is a kind of a black finish as well, which I cannot find a picture to say that that's carbon fiber, so I'll be okay with that. But here, this really is. I can find pictures where this is a striated carbon fiber. Um, then here on the diffuser, it's kind of hard to find an angle. There's the carbon fiber imprinted impression on the top part of the diffuser. But then as you roll to the side here, you can see it's just kind of a blank piece of plastic, no texture to it. And that really should be carbon fiber. And if you're already printing on the top, I don't see why they can't do that here. So a little disappointing from Minichamps on that aspect. Then on the suspension parts, this is again that printed plastic carbon fiber texture. They've done it this way for a while, and it looks nice. So yeah, overall, just typical Minichamps quality. I'd like to see a Spark variant of this just to compare the two. Again, like I said, I'm for 2023 at least. The one Spark that I have, I'm really pretty happy with. But yeah, so this is a nice model. Again, this has the iridium visor on the helmets, which I particularly like. They had another race, it's a night race where they had the brown visor on it, so I chose this Australian version, so I wanted to get this one. Again, they're making pretty much every race win for this particular season, it seems, so you can get almost anyone you want. So I'll be picking up another one. Again, I'll try to get a Spark variant so I can have a comparative um, car for viewing. But anyways, yeah, so that's the 2023 all-conquering RB19, driven by Max Verstappen. I'll be putting this in my World Championship collection to complete that and make that up to date. So again, thank you for watching. If you're like the video, please hit like, hit subscribe, and we'll have some more videos soon.